Interesting too long, so let's just start.
What's up, you stupid fucks? Let's try that again with the mic. I forgot I moved it. What's up, you fucking idiots? That's my new thing. I insult you right at the top. Right at the top, just so you know it's where you were at. You know, I'm in charge. Fuck you. Yeah, just throw you off balance, you know? Get started, say hello, and then be like, that's the fucking shirt you're gonna wear while you watch this podcast. That's what you're gonna wear. And that's the kind of fucking couch you have. um some people respond well to that. Some people need to just be like, hey, you're an idiot. I'm not that kind of person. I dated that kind of person once. Yeah, she always needed like the upper hand. She always needed to fucking be insulting or like, always like you didn't know about that, like that kind of shit. And guess what? That didn't work out. Here I am now in sunny Brooklyn, New York. It is 70 degrees. Feels like a Los Angeles day. Those are the very few moments, very few times that I miss. Let me get this out of the way so you can see this. Hey, pal. Hey, pal. My friend got me that for my birthday. She, she gets funny birthday presents, but she was like, "Hey, here's a," because we always we talk to each other. Me and a couple of friends are always like, well, we start off a text or when we see each other with like, "Hey, pal," or "Hey, friendship." And she was like, "Hey, friendship" would be way too long for a neon sign, which she's right. So she got a "Hey, pal," and then of course I'm like, well, that's going to be part of the backdrop for the pod. So yeah, day like a 70-degree day like this makes me like, it's one of the very few times I miss living full time in LA. But also just like fucking just makes me feel like let's get them. Let's get out there, fucking whoever them is, or M apostrophe EM. Let's get them. Those goals or problems or whatever. Let's fucking attack the day and insult some, hey, idiot. um Look, I was just in Chicago, and thank you to people who came out to Zanies. Fun fucking club. One of the cool old school time capsule clubs. Those are a dying breed, man. There are fewer and fewer of these. Not even retro style. They are They are old clubs that are just like time capsuled, man. You walk in and you're like, this is what the 80s comedy boom was like. There's all these like cool ancient headshots. It's like the back hallway of the comedy store or something like that. Like you see all these headshots from the 80s all the way up to like, a year ago. And Zanies is just fucking covered in that, and just like it just has that feel. Good Nights in Raleigh was one of those, but sorry, that was disgusting. They are moving it. Bullshit. So they're because Helium bought it, I guess. So they're they're building a new location, but Zanies is one of those spots, and then Side Splitters in Tampa is another one of those. And then there's, I'm sure a ton of others. Point being, if you live in one of these cities, don't go to the Improv. Go to one of these places, support your local ancient comedy club that refuses to update anything. There is a charm to that, man. Sometimes you're like, oh, this place. But this isn't a fucking restaurant. You're just going to go sit in a chair in the dark and laugh. Who cares what it fucking looks like? And then when the lights go back on, you're like, oh, look at all the history. You know, boom, done. Anyway, so Chicago is a great city, for comedy. It's a good crowd. Um, I want to do a weekend there next time. I did like a one night midweek. But I loved it, dude. It felt good. The weather was good there. I I held back on getting any deep dish or any hot dogs or any milkshakes with an entire slice of chocolate cake blended into it. Portillo style, man. The fucking city does not fuck around when it comes to food. Um, oh, so good. But I was good, man. I was like, I need to feel better, so I'm gonna really, watch what I'm consuming. And God, I don't like how this thing is. There's no way. There's no way to do it. Fuck, I gotta lean in. Stupid. Um, I need to fucking change. I don't. I gotta change this whole thing. It's not. I'm not that comfortable. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not that comfortable. Anyway, so I discovered a new clothing store in Chicago in the Old Town neighborhood, 2 blocks from Zany's. It's called Ford General. Cool as shit. They have one of my favorite new brands. It's not that new, it's been around a while, but it's new to me. It's called Hansen Garments. They're from somewhere in the Netherlands, and the clothing is very Netherlandsy. Uh, they have cool casual like style suits and shit. Just fucking, it's some like husband and wife team. Um, and the woman's the designer. I guess the guy just like fucking wears the stuff, and she kind of builds everything off of that. I guess. I don't know. I just made that up. Actually, I don't. I'm just assuming something I don't want to do. There I was, just going. This is how this woman makes her clothes. Zero actual knowledge of how she does it. Yet, because I have a microphone, I'm just like, it's probably like this, moving along. No, it's probably not like that. I apologize to Hanson, if that's her name. Um, you make amazing clothing. And what's their Instagram? Hansen Garments, something, probably. Hansen. And then Ford General is spelled the way you would think. Um, Great store. I went in there, tried a ton of stuff on. The sales associate uh, woman was super helpful. And this is not an ad or a plug. I didn't get anything for free. I didn't get any discounts, nothing. I just went in there and just loved the place. So they got a lot of rad shit. It's very like early mid 20th century kind of workwear ish inspired stuff. Um, and I got a couple of like jacket blazer things because I need to grow up. It turns out I need to have semi formal to formal wear as opposed to just not attending an event because I can't wear a leather jacket. I'm 40. So, if you're in Chicago and don't know about it or visiting, it's one of those places you should stop through because there aren't a lot of stores like it that are carrying that amount of brands from like Europe that you're not really going to be able to try in person. There's a few where you're like, "Oh, I like that," but how are you going to order a jacket that's like tailor made for the European market? You're like, "Is this shit going to be what's a 56 mean? Is that or are they making shit too slim for me?" Like you can't fully say retail shops are dead. They're hobbling along, but I will not buy something online until I can try it on a lot of times because I just don't want to deal with the hassle. Or if they're like, "Oh yeah, we can refund you, but store credit only," and you're like, "Now I'm stuck with like credit to some store in like Denmark where I don't even want anything because nothing fits." Like, so a place like Ford General is great for being able to go try on all this stuff. It felt good to be like, okay, now I know what my size in is in this, and I can like buy it, going forward. And there are a few things that I wanted that I was like, oh, this is never ever gonna fit in my life, and I can now never think about that jacket again. And there was one that was like a fucking pinstripe, sort of like part of like a suit deal, and then you looked like you were fucking like, I'm about to go cobble the fuck out of some shoes, was the whole look. And I was like, yes! Because it was sort of had a modern thing to it, so it didn't look like, look, this fucking guy's going to a costume ball thing. They just do, dude, Hanson Garments does it right. That's like one of my new favorite clothing brands. Get into it. Um, you guys see the Gervonta Davis fight? It's good. I didn't think it really would be. People were like, it's gonna be a fucking bomb throwing bloodbath, fucking slugfest. Because they both have power, Gervonta and Rolly Romero. And Rolly Romero is, fuck, dude. He's like from the Teofimo school of just crazy, arrogant confidence delusion world. It's like, I'm the best fighter who's ever. I'll beat up Jesus. Like what? Like, calm down. Like, okay, you're good. You have power. You have like a good record. But like, and I know he's probably just doing it to sell the fight, and it worked. But the at the end was when you were like, and you wonder, you're like, are you still like a little wobbly from the fight? Because you're like, I won all 6 rounds until the knockout. You're like, okay, no. Like the scorecards didn't have that. Like the announcers, the the Showtime scorecard, which is like an unofficial one, didn't have that. It's like, okay, dude. And then wants a rematch because he felt like he won all the rounds till then. And then like when they told that to Gervonta, it's just like just kind of like he gives this little laugh of like, that's so sad that he would like, it was one of those laughs where it's not like like ridiculous. It was kind of like, it was one of those like like, oh, poor, like when someone says something and you like tap them on the shoulder and you go, oh, it's okay. It's so cute. Oh, you think you're, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you, oh, is your head still a little sore? You want to lay down? That's the kind of response Gervonta had to Rolly going, I won all 6 rounds and I want a rematch. It was just like, okay, okay. We'll get you some ice cream. You want some ice cream? We'll get you Sunday. We'll get extra sprinkles? Extra sprinkles. Okay, Rolly. It was like that. Um, Rolly want sprinkles? That would have been the best response. Gervonta, what do you think about this? Rolly want ice cream? It's the stupidest thing in the world. Um, but yeah, man, that like, I mean, look, I in a way admire that kind of delusional arrogance because you're like, that had to help fuel his rise. Same with Teofimo. And both of these dudes are talented fighters. Like these guys are good. But, I mean, down to the like the knockout and the decision and literally everyone on planet Earth going like, now. And they're still like Teofimo, like, the ref raised my hand briefly. We all know it was a fix, and then just going off that, and then his dad probably fucking feeding. That's where he got it from, I'm sure. And Rolly just fucking whatever. I won that fight. I just walked into a hit. You're like, yeah, half of the fucking game is not getting hit. So it's not like the knockout was an accident. yeah, you walked into it, so a punch at whatever Gervonta said, 50-60% of his actual power is what took you out. But like, he kind of baited you into that a little bit. Like, just give the guy, just say, I lost. He was the better man than how many countless fighters are like, he was the better man tonight, right? Which is not saying I'm not as good of a fighter or I'm not good. You are isolating one fight where you got beat and you just fucking say the words. This mentality, it's like I was saying in the last episode I talked about this mentality where you have to have a fucking perfect record that 0 is everything. Like, we all saw the fucking fight, dude. Just own up to it, move on, and then we will also move on. Like when Deontay Wilder just fucking, there was an egg-shaped rock in the glove, and there's this conspiracy. The guys who killed JFK are helping. Like, what? You lost. That's it. I don't know why I'm not even pro losing. I'm just pro, like, acknowledge the thing that literally has been making you better this whole time. Losing, not being that good, getting past the challenge. You've lost your whole way in a way. If you want to, like, look at it from a different angle, you started out knowing nothing, and then you tried and lost and tried again and lost, and then you kind of beat that version of yourself, and then got to the next level, tried, lost, didn't figure it out right away, didn't know, so you took the challenge, failed, went back, learned, beat the challenge, and then kept going. You have a winner's mentality, but that's what it takes to get past losing. And that's what, like, these guys that are just, it's a conspiracy and shit. You're like, okay, I don't know. I just hope that doesn't become more common. And like, it might, because social media will fuel and sort of like reinforce their beliefs, because you could say that in a press conference once, right? And then you go back home and then you sort of just, fuck, I guess I did lose. And then you and your coaches watch the tape and they go, yeah, man, this is where you fucked up. You were like, you lunged in and you weren't protecting yourself, and he baited that once, twice, and just waited and got you. And then you'd go, fuck yeah, you know what? Okay, yeah. And then you move on. But now you could be like, it was a fix. And then you just tweet that. And then a bunch of fucking assholes with nothing to do except call everyone else who likes boxing a casual, or call any other boxer who's not known a cab driver, whatever the fuck their stupid one note insults are. They'd be like, yeah, you're right. And then they'll do a YouTube video. And there was one idiot on YouTube that like made a series of videos defending Deontay Wilder and all of his insane accusations, and none of it made any sense. He had no evidence, but he had these like images, and I think there might have been music, and he was like, yeah, and as you can see, there's something in the glove. And you're like, there's nothing in the glove. What are you doing? You're like dramatically pausing, and now I'm supposed to be like, yeah, that's evidence, this pause of a video. But that sort of stuff just feeds these fucking egos, I think. And who knows if will it hurt Teofima's career? I don't know. He seems happy and healthy. He's moving up in weight. Who knows? Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll have no effect because, again, these guys are really good. But it's just like, it just is like it taints the record and the legacy when you're like, oh yeah, that guy's like a sore loser. Like, Deontay Wilder's reputation isn't the same as it was, because people are still just like, oh, although, is he gonna bring up the thing that fucking no one on earth outside of his own brain believes? I don't know. But so anyway, the Gervonta fight, new level of respect for that guy. I've seen probably all of his previous fights. good. Like he's, entertaining to watch. He's got like a like kind of wholesome, cheerful, boyish sort of attitude, and he's like, it's one of like, yeah, buddy, um, and he's very, he's very talented, but like everyone says about every boxer, like, oh, his record's padded. Mayweather's guiding his career and being super selective with fights. Um, his last fight, um, against what's his fucking name? Was it Ortiz? I can't remember his name. That was a test, like that was a good fight. And why am I blanking on the dude's name? He's really good. He's a fucking little warrior. He gets in there and fucking goes. That was good. I was like, all right. He got out of that. He was like, okay, all right. Um, and then this fight with Rolly, like the kid gave him it was a good matchup. I didn't think he would knock him out in the 6th round. I thought maybe 10th round. And my initial prediction was this is going to be a very calculated fight. We're not going to have these big firefight fucking, like blowouts, and it's going to go the distance. And I thought they'd give it to Gervonta in like a decision, and then Rolly would, contest the decision or whatever. But he walked into that shot 6th round. I think it probably surprised everybody. Surprised me. I was like, I almost didn't see it. I was like, where did that fucking left hand come from? Where? I watched the replay a couple times and I was like, damn, that was like fucking precision. But it gave me a new level of respect for that kid. And I'll be even more excited to watch his fights coming forward. And why? Because he has been fighting real challengers. Yeah, it was a good one. I have been feeling weird a little bit, and it's because I went up in medication. So I've been on Zoloft and Wellbutrin for a while, and they have been helping. And Zoloft I've had an interesting journey with because I started at 50 milligrams, and then I went up to 100, and then I think 150, and then 200, and 200 was the ceiling. And then I rode out 200 for a while, and then I was feeling like I got this manufactured anxiety. It wasn't like what normal anxiety feel. It felt like side effect anxiety, but or like I was like almost about to have anxiety, like that pre-headache feeling. So then I was like, maybe I should go down. And then I went down to 100 and felt good, felt a little better. And then I went down to 50 and I was like, okay, this is good. And because the idea is you're not supposed to like be on this shit for forever, and then I was good on 50 for a while. And then I felt like, more anxiety and this and that. And I was like, maybe you're supposed to play around with the dosages and stuff. So I asked my doctor, who is just this drug dealer that lives under a bridge, and um, I asked him. I was like, hey, here's how I'm feeling. What do you think? And then he's like, you're already on enough Wellbutrin. I don't want to like put you on more of that if not necessary. He's like, let's go back up in Zoloft. And I don't know if anyone else has this, but when I first got on these meds, it like, and certain meds are, they'll either like bring your sex drive back or they'll like just kill it, but then you won't be suicidally depressed. You're like, okay, that's a good trade-off. So when I first got on these, I was like, look, my sex drive's already dead, so don't put me on one that's gonna turn my dick into ash. I don't know, like what would be like if it's already gone. It just falls off and just rolls into a gutter. Um, so I told him, I was like, just put me on ones that will not affect it because I want it to come back. And then it did come back. But the problem was when I was going up in dosage, it was giving me this issue where I couldn't, it would take forever to come. And I know that's like, oh, awesome, but it's not like for it, like you're thinking like, oh yeah, I won't come quick and it'll like it it won't happen. It will just take for you can feel like, oh, it's about to, and then it just goes away. And then I think after there's a degree of that, I think, is side effect to the drug. And let me know if you've had this in any way, because I can't be the only one. I've heard of this happening, but I don't know anyone who it's happened to that I can be like trade notes with, like, how's your cock doing? Which is essentially what I want to do. Like, so how's your cock working, bro? Another thing that guys should do more of, be like, women are totally open and honest about that sort of stuff with each other, but more guys should be like, dude, you're on depression meds. How's your cock? How's your fucking dick, bro? How's your cum blasting going? So I went up to 100, and that thing has kind of started coming back where I was like, fuck. And then I think once you start paying attention to that, and then your mind is going off of fucking, and then you're like, I'm not coming. And then that probably makes it go even longer, So I don't know. Maybe I should just, and of course you don't want your girlfriend to be like, oh, he's not attracted to me. I don't think that she is thinking that, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, what if she's not saying it, So it's just one of those things you have to like just deal with when you're on meds like that. And it sucks, but what's the alternative? Is the alternative be so depressed that I don't even want to have any sex, or it's not on my mind because I'm just too like, which was what it was like before I was on medication. I wouldn't even jerk off. I would be like, go weeks sometimes without even thinking about it, which is why I never used to be like that. And so now I'm like on a normal, a normal schedule, normal diet of my sexual appetite's like normal, which is good. But there's always like there's a twist. So now the twist is like, I can fuck for like longer than I want to. I'm just like, I want to come already. This is stupid. Fucking dumb dick, And I don't want it to get in the way because we're having a good time, but I want to fucking come. So, what do you do? Do you just go like, just do it? And then when you guys feel like you're done, even though I haven't come, just be like, okay. I don't know. And it wasn't like once I was back a few years ago and I was going up in dosage, it didn't stay that way. It would sort of go in and out. Like there'd be some times where it just, and then other times where I was like, oh, that was like normal times. But again, it's better than not being on the meds and being depressed and not even having a sex drive. So it's like, it's just one of those things, I guess. I just have to be like, this is your new normal, Nick. So, okay. I don't know. It's better than being on medicine that completely kills your sex drive. Or what if there was like a medicine that you like you instantly came? That would suck. What if there was okay? You're suicidally. We'll play with this scenario. You're suicidally depressed, and the one drug that's gonna work for you, and it will work. They're like, oh, dude, listen, patient of mine, you take this drug and you'll just one day be like, I want to live, and then you'll go out and live and feel happy and great, and you'll want to talk to people, see your friends. You want to go out on dates, meet someone new, and you're like, what fucking, yeah, dude, fucking, let's go. Give me the drug. They go, yeah, we can't wait to put you on it. It's going to be so awesome. Your life will be back in your hands. And you're like, yeah. You're going to come in 2 seconds no matter what. even with a condom. Oh, with a condom, it'll be 1 second. It's actually worse. It's worse with a condom. And you're like, fuck. What do you do? I mean, you kind of have to do it. You kind of have to take it, right? Because the alternative is not wanting to be alive anymore and not even no interest in sex. And again, in this hypothetical, none of the other drugs are working. You've tried them. You did. And plenty of people have done that. They've cycled through all the depression, anxiety meds. None of them work. The only one that works makes you come in 2 seconds. 1 second with a condom. That's the extreme version of what it's like, where there is no perfect outcome. And that's fucking the story of being alive. You have to appreciate the fact that there is something that can help you some of the way, which is what it all is about, dude. There is no quick fix. And I've lived long enough to just accept that much faster, where I'm not like, no, I'll go on something else or do experimental stuff. I'm like, you know what, man? There's always going to be something. There's always going to be something. I'll get on a different drug. There'll be another side effect that I just will not have that kind of brain. Oh, well. And accepting that is like, there's a strength that you build from that, because you get fucking life will just beat you down for year after year. And, I've been in the entertainment industry long enough where that's it. You're just getting fucking beat down and ignored and rejected. And that's it, and you get up the next day and you come back and you figure it out. You try a different fucking way in and that's kind of what it's like with these things. Like, I'm happy that they exist. I'm happy that they help, but like, you just can't have it all. And I was getting annoyed about this the other day, and I was like, I'm going up in my dosage, and I think it's probably gonna help me sleep better. They say if you take Zoloft at night, it improves your sleep, or even just whatever later in the day, and and then you're thrown this little thing, and it's like, oh, you're gonna want to fuck more, but it's not gonna end the way it normally. Like, the best part of fucking, you might not even get that all the time, but you get acts 1 and 2. You get to watch most of movies. But that's the way that shit goes, man. What can you do? There's so many things like that, like you can get a new job and it can pay great, no benefits. You can get a new job, shit pay, there's benefits. You can go on the road and, you're headlining clubs, but the money's not good. You could feature for someone, money's better, let's say, because you're featuring for someone that's playing great venues. And it's like, you just got to fucking make it all work, because you got to use those things as stepping stones to the thing that you want. You got to lose upwards, figure out what the loss, don't be mad or think, it's because of that and like blame other shit, the obstacle is the way. I think I recommended that book for in one of my Patreon blog posts a while back. It's good. It's about Stoic philosophy, and a lot of times the obstacle is the way, man. It's a good read. I read it like a year ago, and it's like, it's one of those things that like keeps coming back, like how do you turn that into a positive? Or if you're heading this way, there's the obstacle. Use the obstacle to head that way to get to where you were going anyway, Yeah, it's good. I got to read. I got to read the Marcus Aurelius book that was written fucking 1,000 years ago or whatever. Um, the Stoics had good ideas, but and they're still around now. The ideas meaning. Um, so yeah, man. Like I guess I should just be happy that my dick's working, and just kind of go from there. Anyway, if your dick doesn't work, but if you've had similar, like sort of things with other meds, and they had whatever the side effects were, and it's like, did they last? Did they go away after the adjustment period? Like, um, yeah, I'd be curious to know. Um, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. These solutions that can be like so off-putting for a long time. Like I had all these ideas of what medication was and what it would do and not do, and it took sitting down with a psychiatrist for them to go like, yeah, and then you're on them for a while and then you get off them. I'm like, what you do? And he's like, yeah, you're going to be on this shit forever. I'm like, oh, never occurred to me. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. I just thought, yeah, when you get on meds, you're on them for the rest of your life. Like some kind, like a physical ailment. Sometimes they go, you have to take this pill every day until you're dead, so you don't die. I thought it was like that with psychiatric meds, but I guess it's not. Like will kind of build new circuit ways in your brain that teach you to handle things the way you didn't know how before because of depression, and then you build a toolkit and that gets you through shit, and then you can get off, and then not be 100%, but if you started at 30, maybe you'd be at 65, 70. um Being on meds allowed me to get into meditation and make that work. I think the mental stability that being on medication gave me um allowed me to get into meditation and stick with it and really like focus on it and make it work. So those can be the positive outcomes. It's not just this thing is cutting off the highs and lows and I feel okay. It makes you feel okay enough to go out and live your life. So the outcomes are not the medication is doing its job on your brain. It's allowing you outside of the medication. It's allowing you to accomplish shit. And that's what a lot of people don't think of it in those terms. They just think of it as like you're depressed, you take the medication, it does the thing medication's supposed to do, and then that's it. It's like, no, it's more about everything after that. Once you're on it and you want to wake up, you know, and actually get out of bed and stuff and sit down and write and actually do the writing and that kind of stuff. And it's, it's like becomes autopilot after a while. You don't think like, oh, I'm doing this because of the medication. But later on, you go, God, I did way more this year than I did the year before I was medicated, or like 10 years ago when I was still like drinking and shit. It's like I was working, I was doing stuff, but could have been doing more for sure, you know? And I'm not saying life should be all or nothing, go out, have fun, make your mistakes, and, be an idiot and all that shit. I'm glad I did because, you get to learn stuff, have fun, do dumb, drunk, stupid shit. And, but it was in retrospect is the point. So, um, I tell people this all the time where they go like, I don't know, or I've been thinking I want to like quit this or try this. It it just try. Like the psychiatrist told me, it's not forever. Everything. Everything. This podcast, this episode, this day, this conversation, this attempt at something is fucking temporary. So just fucking try it. The worst thing I've always thought is like I don't want to look back and be like I should have tried that. Um, and a lot of the things I've tried, I've not looked back and been like, oh, I shouldn't have fucking done that. You know, like starting stand up when I was a kid. I didn't look back and go, I did that too soon. You know, quitting drinking, getting sober, quitting cigarettes, starting meditation, getting on psychiatric meds, moving to New York, um, all these things. It's like, dude, these are just like, they are just pages in the chapters that are eventually going to be the book that's your whole life. And like, you gotta, you gotta go for it, you know? Um, Brian Austin, how did you know I was on a couch? Because the medication lets me read minds. um, I hope this looks good on a TV, Brian. Um, I forget that a lot of people watch podcasts; they just stream them on their thing. But I'm thinking of changing the background, man. I'm thinking of like simplifying. You know, maybe just like a curtain or whatever, just something to where it's like, because I don't know, is it too busy, distracting? Is it just, I don't know. Again, trying to fucking tinker and improve and make it work. Just trying to make it work. I don't know. I think that's it. I got a lot of that off my chest, which is the only reason to even have a podcast. I need to get this off my chest. All right. Um, let's call it a day. I hope you guys have a good one. What's today? Wednesday, July 1st. Fuck, man. This year is already half over. I've been on the road for so much of it. I'm going to be doing a few special dates with Nick Swartzen. Should have probably said that at the beginning. Um, June 10th in Atlantic City with Nick Swartzen. Um, June 16th in Boston. June 17th in Connecticut at Foxwoods. Um, those are all theater shows. I'll be opening for Nick Swartzen. Good friend. Haven't seen him since, dude, before the pandemic started, man. Ugh, I miss him. He's a great guy. He's a good friend. He is a fucking great comic, and it's one of the few guys where if he's like, hey, come open for me, I'm like, I'm there, because he's fun to hang out with, and I've fucking love watching him and just hanging out. He's just funny to be around. It's one of those like people where you're like, I actually watched him on TV before I did stand up, and I was like, that's one of the funniest guys. And then it's those moments where you're like, oh yeah, he's sitting right across from me, and we're friends now. Um, this is little moments where you're like, yeah, this is what I wanted. Um, anyway, go out and get what you want. See you next time.